Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So my goodness, just like I said, today's gonna be a big day for Tesla in the market. And I mean, it was a pretty big day for Tesla in the market. So essentially what happened was we got the CPI data that came out, the consumer price index, which essentially, if you're not really sure what that is or what it means, the easiest way to think about it is it's pretty much the way the market pretty much like senses or understands just how bad or good inflation is, because that's like the hot topic right now. Inflation is like the backbone of everything. It leads to everything. It leads to rate hikes. It leads to the Fed taking it. It's like the backbone of a lot of the issues, quote unquote, right now in the market, and fear, all that stuff. And it came in hotter than expected. 7.2 or 3%, I believe, was expected. Came in at about 7.5. So definitely hotter than expected, which obviously isn't good. So what happened today, Tesla, of course, ending the day pretty much down 3% at 904. The fact that it maintained 900 is good, but I'll be honest, not overall, it's not looking too good overall. So in the morning, what happened was we had this little rally. And this was like such a bull trap. Like I expected this to be a bull trap to the point where I literally sold call. Like, I always sell calls on Tesla weeklies because it's like the premium is insane. So what I did was pretty much around this area, I sold calls for like 940, I think, or 945, I think is what I sold for. And then I saw a push all the way up here, but I didn't like, panic buy them back or anything, because like I was so convinced this was a bull trap to the point where at this area here, I bought back one of my calls I sold at the beginning of the week at like Monday or something. That was a 955 call. Bought that back and then resold that for a 940 because I was just so convinced this was a bull trap. And it was. And then we just essentially just bled out the rest of the day. So yeah, it was pretty much a bull trap. So essentially, I'm not gonna lie, the fact that we held 900 is good. But overall, I would definitely say this is not looking that good, in all honesty. So pretty much what happened was, we were in this little, so taking a look at this line right here, we were in this little ascending, wedge, if you will, or whatever you want to call it. And then, we kept getting rejected at this, like, roughly like 940-ish level, right? Rejected, like constant rejection. Like we couldn't finish a single 1 hour candle, like even a 1 hour candle, let alone like a 4 hour candle, above 940 pretty much roughly. Just could not do it, rejected multiple times, and the big ones, of course, being like this one here that we got rejected at like 948, and then yesterday, I think it was, we got rejected at 945, and I mentioned that. I'm like, that's not good. The fact that we pushed up that high, and we got rejected that aggressively, is not good. Like, that's not a good sign, right? That shows that, I was saying how I think Tesla can break out and like, push up to like maybe like 980-ish, something like that. I was expecting, honestly, at least 960. Like, I really thought we'd go to at least 960. And these two like situations on these 2 days right here, this little situation here and then this situation here, those were the attempts. These were the things that I was waiting for. The issue, there was no follow through. Like, this is something that you want to see happen, but you want to see it follow through. Very, very important that this follows through. It did not. The first time it didn't follow through, it's like, okay, that's not too bad. I mean, it's a little concerning, but it's not too bad. It's whatever. The second time, however, and even today, the third time, but especially the second time, this is when the alarm starts kind of ringing in your head, or at least it should, making you think that, this is like looking pretty suspicious. And then today, same thing happened, except, we got rejected at a lower number every single time as well, and got pushed right under that 940 level every single time. And yeah, it was just a blatant bull trap today. Today was just an obvious bull trap in my opinion. I thought it was just ridiculously obvious. I also got QQQ puts, made like 30% of my QQQ puts. I got them like right around here somewhere. I got them like right here, I think. And then it ran up. But again, I was just convinced that this was just a gap fill, which it was. And then after that, it bled out. Because again, like when the CPI comes in hotter than expected, like I said this yesterday in the video, if it comes in hotter than expected, we are going to be getting some pain in the market. And this was just an absolute bull trap. People probably got FOMO. People probably bought calls and like maybe even entered just, positions as shares and whatnot, thinking that, oh my God, the market doesn't care anymore. We're rallying and I want to enter calls. And yeah, and that's it. If you did that, you got trapped. And then you probably lost money on that. So you got to be really careful with that. Like the market is very good at abusing that kind of stuff. You got to be really careful. And it's pretty common that the market shows these false signs like this of like, bullish momentum after a CPI data initially, and then it just bleeds out. Usually it takes a couple of days, but this was like pretty fast. So yeah, anyway, so the point is that looking back at Tesla, right, we essentially were in this little channel that I mentioned. We're still technically in this overall channel, like sideways, but we were in this slight ascending channel, getting rejected at 940, which normally is also a fairly bullish pattern. You know, and as long as you don't break under this line, which unfortunately at the end of the market or at the end of the day, we did, which isn't good. So we got to 900. We ended up bouncing off of that, which is fine. And what I wouldn't be surprised is I wouldn't be surprised if maybe tomorrow or something like that, we push up to maybe like, you know, 910, 915, maybe something like that. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that happens, but I'm also expecting that to be rejected. And then off of that, we pretty much break down. And at this point, short term, you know, maybe sometime next week, I would not be whatsoever surprised, especially if this like 880, 885 level breaks. Especially then, would not be surprised whatsoever if we just essentially fall down to gap fill at 850. Like essentially, even from now on, I'm pretty much expecting that to happen. I'm like 80% convinced that we are most likely going to fall down a gap fill, and then, you know, once that happens, if it does, we will see from there, and we will reevaluate and see, you know, what's it looking like after this. Is this fine? Are we going to bounce off of this and now are things looking good, or is there more pain ahead? Again, the fact that the CPI numbers came in hotter than expected is not a good thing. That's not going to be helping the market at all. And then whenever Jerome Powell speaks next, I mean, there's a chance that that's not going to be helping the markets at all either. So make sure you're hedging, guys. Again, like I said, make sure, you know, it's important to hedge, not financial advice, but it's always good to have some hedges. I did sell my QQQ puts today. I took my profits on them, again, about 30%. Because again, I'm potentially expecting a small bounce here and there. But until the QQQ like breaks roughly like this line here that we're in, something like this, give or take, until we like really like break through this right here roughly, you know, I'm not too worried just yet. But once this breaks, then that's where it gets pretty bad, and that's where it can get pretty ugly. So be very careful about that, guys. I mean, you can even argue that here, you know, we did bounce up, thankfully, at the end of the day. So even like this, if we close under this, like that could be bad as well. So that's essentially what I'm eyeballing right now. So that's why I'm thinking like there is a small chance that we get a bounce. Maybe tomorrow, like halfway, you know, into the day, like intraday, could be a bounce. But again, I'm expecting a rejection, and I'm overall bearish short term. So keep that in mind, guys. I am bearish short term, especially if Tesla breaks this like level right here, which is, you know, that 885-ish level. Then I'm like definitely like looking for that gap fill down to like 850. So keep that in mind, guys. Again, I did say yesterday, today's going to be a big day, and I did say if it comes in hotter than expected, expect some pain ahead. So hopefully some of you, you know, put that knowledge to use and, you know, hedged, maybe made some money on the downside. And yeah, so let me know what you guys think down below. Hopefully this video has been useful. Hopefully this analysis has been useful, so you know what to expect in the coming days, maybe week-ish or so. But yeah, other than that, guys, I'll see you for tomorrow's update. So until then, have a good day. Peace.